Miami River, Ohio. It is a live edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull. It is opening day for Major League Baseball. Sadly, we do not have a game going on. It's opening day, and there's no 1 o'clock game. There was supposed to be one. That game got rained out. Nevertheless, 26 of the 30 Major League teams will be playing today, including the Cleveland Guardians out on the West Coast. Unfortunately, you got to stay up very late to watch it. But I will be up, and hopefully you will all join me. Join me now live. I just tweeted out a link if you want to join me and come on the show live on camera. You could do it without the camera and just have your voice on there. But I'd love to hear from you. Hello, everybody's saying hello in the chat. Join me. Click on the link that I just tweeted out 2 minutes ago if you want to join me to ask a question or whatever you want to do. The Guardians, the pitching matchup tonight, Shane Bieber, who obviously had a terrible injury-plagued season last year, is healthy. He's had a great spring training, and he will pitch on opening day against another veteran in Alex Wood. It'll be a left-hander on the mound. The lineup's not set yet for the Guardians because they don't play for another 8 hours. But it'll be interesting first game. You know, we're used to lineups being put together a certain way by Terry Francona, and that's obviously going to change now because you've got a new manager. And it's weird because almost the entire time I've been working in Cleveland, Terry Francona has been the manager. He took over soon after I moved to Cleveland, and it's finally changed. And so what will Stephen Vogt do? We know one thing, Miles Straw will not be in the lineup. He is going to be playing for Columbus when the season opens. But who will be? Will they have any kind of platoon in center field? Will they have a platoon at DH/first base opposite Josh Naylor until Kyle Manzardo comes up, we think later this month, or I should say late April or early May. And maybe a center field platoon until Chase DeLauder comes up. That's not a sure thing. I'll be shocked if Kyle Manzardo's not here by the very latest sometime in May. Chase DeLauder's not, even if he plays great, remember, he's really not played above A ball. Now, neither had Wyatt Langford, though, who's starting the season in the big leagues for the Rangers. But the Guardians do things a little differently. So I don't think Chase DeLauder is going to be up anytime soon. I do think Kyle Manzardo will be up soon. But right now we focus on the players that are actually on the roster. And there are some guys that I'm actually excited about heading into this season. And one of them is on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show today. We talked about, we were asked for bold predictions on the Guardians. And my bold prediction, and this is, this is not the odds of this happening. Speaking of which, the live show, of course, is brought to you by Bet Rivers. And coming up in just a little bit, I will give you my Bet Rivers bet of the day. My parlay of the day. I couldn't think of the word parlay for a second. My parlay of the day. I got a 3-game, well, it's 2 games and then 1 statistic, but it's a 3-part parlay. And we got a great deal for you at Bet Rivers. So if you want a good parlay for opening day, stick around. I'm going to give that to you in just a little bit. But my bold prediction on the Guardians today is something that is obviously not very likely, but I went with it anyway. And that's my prediction was that Brian Rocchio, who is going to be the everyday shortstop, at least that's what we've been told, and who is, right there with Chase DeLauder and Kyle Manzardo, one of the best prospects in the organization, he will be an all-star. Not as a starter, but because he won't get the votes. But I got Brian Rocchio. That if the Guardians are going to surprise me and others and win this division, which they have a chance because there's no clear favorite in this division, then they're going to need some young players to be outstanding. And I think Bo Naylor is going to be one of those young players, but we saw that from Bo at the end of last year. I think Stephen Kwan's going to have a really good year, but we've already seen that from Stephen Kwan. Brian Rocchio has not had much of an opportunity in the big leagues. And I have a good feeling that he, is going to live up to the pedigree that some of the other infielders that they've given an opportunity to have not, and could potentially have a big season. Brian Rocchio has 86 major league plate appearances. He got them last year as a rookie. He still qualifies as a rookie. He went 20 for 81, 9 runs, 6 doubles, no homers, 8 ribbies, walked 4 times, struck out 27, didn't steal any bases. Not great numbers for Brian Rocchio in his small sample size in the major leagues last year. But he's obviously a very young player. Last season, he was 22 years old. And so he got some good experience. And this guy in the minors has been a hell of a player. He's hit for power. He's stolen bases. He's hit for a solid average. He gets on base at a 35% clip in the minors. So I like what I've seen from him. And last year in Columbus, he had a 367 on base. He knocked in 65 runs with 7 homers. He stole 25 bases. A lot of excitement with this guy. Could play the field as well. So that's my bold prediction for the Guardians. I'll be curious to see where he's hitting in the lineup. My guess is he'll be batting towards the bottom of the lineup, probably 8th or 9th. We shall see. Excited to see Bo Naylor play on opening day. I'm excited to see how Shane Bieber looks coming off that lost season last year, probably his last year with the Guardians. And, you need Andres Jimenez to bounce back after a down season last year. Jose Ramirez had a bad second half. Tyler Freeman. I'll be curious. I think, what's funny is you look at center field where we could see Estevan Florial and Tyler Freeman. I would expect to see Tyler Freeman tonight. And I think he's going to get a chance to be the primary center fielder, but especially tonight because they're facing a lefty in Alex Wood. I would think that Freeman, who is a righty, and Florial's a lefty, will be in there tonight. Guardians are a pretty big favorite in their season opener in Oakland. They are actually not as big as I thought. They're minus 157 at Bet Rivers right now. If you want to take them on the run line, minus 1.5, they're plus 116. I probably wouldn't do that. If you're going to bet that game, I'd bet the Guardians straight up because I could see them winning this. I predicted. It's silly to predict baseball scores in a way, but I was forced into it, so I predicted the Guardians would win 2-1 tonight. But the Guardians have a chance here to get off to a good start to the season because you're playing Oakland. They were the worst team in baseball last year. They will be amongst the worst teams in baseball this year, along with Colorado and the White Sox probably, and Washington, I think. I'll be interested to see what the crowd is. Usually even teams that don't draw well, like our Guardians, sell out on opening day. That I don't think will be the case in Oakland. I know they're doing protests in the parking lot. I mean, is it going to, obviously for a lot of last year, especially the second half, and I can't blame the fans. They're pissed that the team's leaving. They're pissed that the team stinks. But it still would be a bummer if there's 5,000 people at an opening. It's not going to feel like opening day if there's 5,000 people at the game. But again, I don't blame the fans for being a little angry with this situation. If you want to jump in, if you have a question, if you're on a desktop computer, make sure that you use Google Chrome and you click the link I just tweeted out about 10 minutes ago, and you could jump in and ask a question live on air. So we'll get to you in just a little bit if you want to jump in. If you want to just send a question in the chat, we're looking at that as well. Kevin asks, what's my best guess for the lineup tonight? All right, it's a good question. So the Guardians obviously have a lot of lefties on this team. I think they have 6 lefties of their 13 hitters, right? 13 hitters, 13 pitchers, yes. So they got 6 lefties: Quan, Jimenez, Will Brennan, Bo Naylor, Josh Naylor, and Estevan Florial. So how many of the lefties will play? Quan and Jimenez will play. Josh Naylor will play. Bo Naylor better play. So those 4 guys will be in the lineup. I would think that Florial and Will Brennan wouldn't play. I think that I could see Gabriel Arias getting the start as the DH. So I'll say the lineup tonight is Kwan, Jimenez, Ramirez, Josh Naylor, Ramon Laureano. I'll say Bo Naylor 6th, Tyler Freeman 7th, Gabriel Arias 8th, Gabriel Arias 8th, and Brian Rocchio 9th. I keep wanting to call him Rocchio, even though I know it's Rocchio, but in my brain, I keep wanting to say Rocchio. I don't know why. I know it's Rocchio, and my brain keeps going to Rocchio. But anyway, so that's my prediction for tonight. And then you'll have Hedges, Fry, Florial, and Brennan on the bench. Also, would stun me either if David Fry got to start at DH. I know the part of the reason David Fry is on the roster is so if Austin Hedges is, the games he starts, that you have some flexibility. You can take him out of the game if it's a big hitting spot late. But David Fry could play other positions, and in this case, he would DH, and he's a right-handed bat. But my gut tells me Gabriel Arias will be out there. And Stephen Vogt may want to have Will Brennan in there, even though it's a lefty. But I think they'll sit Brennan. So that's my prediction on the lineup, as Shane Bieber will get the start for the Guardians. Now, if you ask me to predict the A's lineup, that's a little trickier. Bull, who are your Cy Young picks this year? Yeah, last year I picked Manoah. He was awful. That was a terrible pick by me. I did pick him, and the guy was a totally zizzer. Red Owl, I know Arias is bad against lefties. I'm aware. But the reason I think they want to, if he's going to be a big leaguer, he's got to improve against lefties. You're not facing a great lefty. I think they're going to give him a shot, even though he did suck against lefties. It's a fair point. But I still think he's going to play tonight. But it wouldn't shock me if it was Fry. But just because he was bad against lefties last year doesn't mean he will be this year. He's a right-handed hitter. He shouldn't be terrible against lefties. He was, though. That's completely fair. All right, I'll give you some predictions here, and then in a little bit I'll give you my my parlay of the day. So let's start in the American League East. Well, I'll start in the American League Central because we'll go with the Guardians. I do not have the Guardians making the playoffs. I can't. I think they can make the playoffs, but as of today, I think they fall short. I think I got them in third place. I'm sorry, second place in the AL Central, just missing out of the division and just missing out on the third wild card. I think if they win 4 or 5 more games than I have them, they'll get in. They're not far off. I just have too many concerns about the lineup. So I have them finishing in second. I do have the Twins winning the division. I know everybody's down on the Twins. I get it. I still like their lineup the best in this division, even with some flaws. Every team in this division is flawed. I think it'll be very close between the top 4 teams, but I've got the Twins winning the division. Guardians a close second, Tigers a close third, and then the Royals a close fourth. I have the Astros winning the West, even though the Rangers are the defending champs. I've got the Rangers in second, Mariners third, Angels in fourth, and A's in fifth. The Angels are going to be bad too. In the American League East, I got the Orioles winning the division, the Blue Jays finishing second, the Rays third, the Yankees fourth, and the Red Sox fifth. I'll do it again like I did it last year. And obviously, I got a lot of New York friends. My man Monzo, one of the co-producers of the show, he is a New York guy, as am I, but I don't root for New York teams. And all the sports talk hosts, they all think the New York teams rule the day. I said the Yankees wouldn't make the playoffs. I was wrong about Manoah. I blew that one. But I said the Yankees wouldn't make the playoffs last year, but he said I was crazy, and I was right. My man Sean Marash, who thinks he's the genius of picking games, he said the Giants were going to be really good. I told him they were going to be trash, and I was right. Once again, the Yankees, I was looking at the Yankees roster, not impressed at all. Their only good pitcher, their only frontline pitcher, Garrett Cole's going to miss half the season. He's on the 60-day IL. So best case scenario, he comes back the middle of the season. The rest of their pitching staff is nothing special. Their bullpen's fine. Their outfield is great, but their infield is nothing. So, yeah, they got Judge and they got Soto, but Judge is always hurt, and Stanton's always hurt, and they got too many old players. I said this last year that it would be a problem. I'll say it again. The Yankees are not making the playoffs. The 3 wild card teams in the American League will be Toronto, Texas, and Seattle. No Tampa. I got them out. I got the Yankees out. Remember who said it first. And I'll admit if I'm wrong. Remember I said it first. NL East, the Braves are going to win the division. The Phillies will finish second. They'll be a wild card team. It's a toss-up between the Mets and Marlins for third and fourth. I'll go with the Mets third, the Marlins fourth, and the Nats fifth. In the NL Central, this is the toughest division to pick. I think all 5 teams could possibly win the division, and I'll include the Pirates because I think they got a lot of good young players that I'm high on. Ultimately, and I almost don't want to pick them to win division because people are thinking I'm being biased, but I'm going to take the Cubs by a hair, with the Reds second, the Cardinals third, the Pirates fourth, and the Brewers dead last in fifth. But I think there might only be a 10-game gap between first and last. In the West, the Dodgers will win the West. The Diamondbacks will finish second. The Padres third. The Giants fourth. The Rockies fifth. I've got, obviously, the Cubs, Braves, and Dodgers as division winners. I've got the Diamondbacks, the Phillies, and the Reds as the wild card teams in the National League. And my World Series, not a bold prediction. I have the Braves beating the Orioles. The Braves coming through this time. I love their rotation. I love their lineup. The Dodgers are really good, but I like the Braves bullpen better. I like the Braves rotation better. And while the Dodgers 2, 3, 4 of Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman is as good as it gets, I think top to bottom, the Braves might have a better lineup. I like the Orioles a lot this year. They'll call up Jackson Holiday soon. I think the Orioles could win the division by a significant margin, contrary to popular belief in the AL East. Hard to pick against Spencer Strider in the National League for the Cy Young. But I'll give you somebody. I'll give you Zach Gallen. Let's go with Zach Gallen as the Cy Young in the National League. In the American League, my Cy Young winner is going to be Carlos Rodon. No, he's the Cy Young loser. He's going to finish last for the Cy Young. My Cy Young winner in the American League is going to be Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns in the American League. So there you go. And MVPs. The MVP of the National League will be, drum roll, please. I don't know what we're drum rolling. Austin Riley. Austin Riley is your MVP in the National League. And the American League MVP will be, I forgot who was my American League MVP pick. Oh my gosh. Who was my American League MVP pick? I'll have to think about it. I had a list of all these things. I left them at my desk upstairs, so I don't have it. I remembered everything else by heart, and I can't remember who I had as the American League MVP. I'm looking at the teams, and it's just not coming to me. Corey Seager. I know he's a little banged up to start the season, but Corey Seager is my American League MVP. So there you go. All right. Do we have anybody that wanted to jump in? No, but you can if you want. About 20 minutes ago, I tweeted out the link if you want to jump in, and you can join me on air. What do we got? Not sure. Tyler says not sure area starts today. I think they'll go with Friday. They certainly could. Red Owl, I got them with 87 wins, due for some good luck. Yeah, I could see it. I've been overly aggressive in the past. I'm being a little more conservative with my prediction. So 87 wins certainly possible, but I think that's the high end of what they're likely to do. Tyler says need to make April count. Minnesota not having their closer. You're right. That's a big loss. Duran is out for the Twins for a little while. The Guardians have, with Terry Francona, very often started poorly. They have an opportunity to start well. Like, go to Oakland, sweep the A's. They stink. Well, the Guardians need to win at least. I shouldn't say need, but it'd be nice if they at least won 3 or 4 on the road. And if they had or 3 or 4 in Oakland, and they have a 10-game road trip to start, if you can get off to a really great start, 7-3, 8-2, something crazy like that, then we'd have some buzz, beyond the usual opening day buzz, because you got to create some excitement. Right now, the diehard baseball fans are excited about the start of the season and excited about the Guardians, but the team did not create a lot of buzz this offseason. Brian Monzo, I hate the Yankees, but Volpe is not nothing. The slightest improvement, and he's a 30-30 player. See, this is Brian Monzo, not a Yankee fan, but he's a typical New York sports fan. That's New York propaganda. 30-30. I'm not a betting man all that often by nature. Well, I shouldn't say that. I am 100% a betting man by nature. But Anthony Volpe, 30-30, this is not impossible. But I bet against it. The question is, he's a nice player. Gleyber Torres is overrated. LeMahieu, I don't trust. Rizzo's old. LeMahieu's old. Their infield is nothing special. It's mid. And they have too many guys with injuries. So maybe I shouldn't laugh at Volpe going 30-30, because it wasn't like he was, miles away last year. He did go 20-20, but that's a big jump from 20-20 to 30-30. That's a really big jump. And he's a nice player. I like him. Red Owl, George Kirby, Cy Young. I could see that. Julio Rodriguez, MVP. I could see that too. Brendan says, go Guards. Excited for the season. Love listening to you, Bull. Thank you, Brendan. Teddy has to spoil opening day with a Browns question, but I will answer it anyway. If Deshaun struggles this season, do you think the Browns try to move on next year? Well, I mean, if he has a bad season again, then it's over, basically. They will start the process of moving on, but they won't be able to trade him or anything. Manuel says, I have a good feeling about this year. How many wins? I'm saying 82 wins. But I could see them getting 85, 86, something like that. I definitely think that's possible. But there are a lot of holes in the lineup. I mean, I'm excited about Rocchio, but he's not a sure thing. There's question marks at DH, at shortstop, even to some degree at catcher, certainly in right field, center field. They didn't have a lot of good hitters last year, and you're bringing back the same guys, mostly. So I don't know how I could be that confident about their lineup. As much as I like their pitching, Gavin Williams is already starting the season on the injured list. They got some guys banged up in the bullpen as well. Let's see. Chufu, it's not too late. If you want to jump in and join me, I know a couple people said you got it. If you're on a desktop, you got to go to Google. You got to go get in through Google Chrome, and we will invite you into the show to join me. It's not too late if you want to jump in now. I got a few more minutes to have you in. The Rookie of the Year races should be very interesting in Major League Baseball. I know he's not starting the season in the big leagues, but obviously Jackson Holliday has got a great chance. The two kids with the Rangers have a great chance. Both big-time prospects starting the season in the big leagues. So it should be a very interesting race there. I'm going to go with Holliday. I'm a little nervous because he's starting the season late, but I think he'll be up before the end of April. And even though he's gotten off to a bad start, I'm going to go with Yamamoto in the National League, which is, I think it's unfair when the players come over from Japan that they can win Rookie of the Year, but it is what it is. So as long as they're eligible, I'm going to pick them. Steven, let's see. He asks, I know there's a lot of hype for Rocchio, but what batting stance would make you happy for Arias this season? What batting stance? Oh, batting stats. Batting average, home runs, on base, OPS. Love you both. Thanks, Steven. I don't care about batting average anymore. On base is what's most important, but they need to get some more power. And Monza says the Julio Franco batting stance. That's the all-time greatest. Although I did love Darryl Strawberry's left-handed swing and stance. For the Guardians need to get power from some sources you're not expecting, and Arias might be one of them. Rocchio might be another. I need some more guys to at least hit freaking double digits. God forbid 20. The Guardians were dead last in home runs last year by a lot. They've got to get close to the middle of the pack this year. I don't think that's likely, and that's why I don't have them in the playoffs. But if they get to the middle of the pack, then I think they then can win the division. William Hoffman sends a message. He says, a year from today, who is the opening day starter for the Guardians? I'll say Tanner Bybee. I think Gavin Williams ultimately has the best stuff for the other guys. I think Williams, Bybee, and McKenzie can all be excellent starters, and they'll all be here next year most likely. But I'm more worried about injury right now with the other two a little bit, and I think Bybee's the most reliable at this point. So that'll be my prediction. Ahmed says a message. Let's go Bull. Love to see it, even though I have to play hooky at work. Got to play hooky once in a while. It's opening day. I mean, I know they don't play till 10 tonight, but I still think playing hooky is a great thing. Who needs work? Too much time working. That's not good. Okay. Last chance to jump in. If you get in the next 2 minutes, if you want to join me live on air. Terry, this year is so important for setting groundwork for which should be much better offense in 25. Important years for Rocchio, Arias, Brennan, with the impending arrival of DeLauder, Manzardo, and Brito. Yeah, they need some of these young guys to start not only hitting, but hitting for power. They have not spent any money in free agency in recent years, and when they have, they haven't spent it well. The Josh Bell thing was a disaster last year. Mike Zunino was a disaster last year. The biggest free agent contract this year, unbelievably, was Austin Hedges, $4 million. So, yeah, they're going to have to develop their own if the power's going to come. They're not spending any money right now, unfortunately. Let's see. Terry says also, I believe the first pick in the draft could contribute next year. I don't know. Now with the Guardians, I mean, obviously they take a guy out of college first overall. At this point, there doesn't appear to be a slam dunk, no-brainer guy like that once-in-a-generation talent. We'll see as the season develops. Joshy, he asks, in a Bieber trade, do you think management will finally get for sure young bats or still go for the arms? Who can say? There's never a sure thing. I don't know. You're not getting a top 50 hitter for Bieber most likely unless he's having a Cy Young season. And if he's having a Cy Young season, hopefully the Guardians are competing and you don't trade him. But knowing the Guardians, even if they are having a good season, it wouldn't shock me if they traded him. But in that scenario, then yeah, maybe I hope they would go get a hitter. That's what they need more. Brian says, Bull, happy day. Did you mention your baseball parlay yet? No, and that's why I'm glad you asked, because here is my parlay. My parlay is the Guardians to win, the Orioles to win, and Pablo Lopez over 5.5 Ks. That's the bet. So if you go to Bet Rivers and you play the Adam the Bull special, bet with the Bull, Orioles to win, Guardians to win, and they're both favorites, and Pablo Lopez of the Twins over 5.5 strikeouts, you can get that right now at Bet Rivers at plus 345. And that's a great deal right now. So go to the Bet Rivers app or go to the website. 3 things that are more likely than not to happen. Again, the Orioles to win, their favorite today. The Guardians are a pretty significant favorite to win tonight. And Pablo Lopez, the Twins starter, who's a big-time strikeout pitcher, over 5.5. The strikeout totals are lower because it's the first start of the year and guys don't go as deep into the game. But that's the parlay, and you can get it right now at betrivers.com or the Bet Rivers app at plus 345. I'm going to retweet it as well as soon as the live show ends. So good luck. If you didn't catch it, again, I'll tweet it out. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. I haven't paid that close attention. I know somebody tweeted about message about Travis Bazana, I think is how you say his name. I haven't paid close enough attention to college baseball yet. I'm not a big college baseball guy. Because the Guardians have the first pick, I'll probably pay more attention, but it's so early in their season that I haven't gotten into it yet. We got a few months to go before the draft. All right, thanks to everybody for joining. Thanks to everybody for watching. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe. Love you guys. I really appreciate the support and the love. Thanks all for joining me in the chat. I'll be on UCSS tomorrow, back with the podcast on Monday, and back with a live podcast on Thursday. I'll be doing more baseball parlays. Hopefully we'll start 1 for 1. Again, Orioles to win. It's the Bulls bet. Go on. I'll retweet it. Go on Bet Rivers right now. Orioles to win. Guardians to win. And Pablo Lopez over 5.5 strikeouts. You're getting significant plus money on that, and I think it's got a great chance to hit. Thanks to Monzo and Max for producing. I'll see you next time. Where else but right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody. Love you all.